Xolemates, y'all deserve an update. I think it's been close to 2 months since I've dropped a video on this channel. I wouldn't say that I'm experiencing creative block though. Other than the cabin trip that I took with Felix and Logan, this really is the most inspired and the hardest I've worked on music. I've been making a solo EP.
Jesse's paper cut.
It took way longer than I thought it would, and I'm kind of losing my mind, but we're close to the finish line. Whew, and that's good to say. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, but I've got work in an hour, so also that's another update. I now have a part-time job. That's been an ongoing joke on the Lodge, Felix and I's podcast. Me always saying that I'm gonna get a part-time job because I'm so broke, and it finally got to a point where I had to do it. So I'm gonna get ready for work. Also shave. I've been like in just a little hobbit hole for the past weeks. I can't even speak right now. So yeah. All right. Of course, I forget a tripod. All right, this is gonna have to do. Wow. So I've been a full-time YouTuber for about 4 years now. For 2 of those years, I lived in Nashville, Tennessee, and I moved back to Oklahoma about a year ago. The whole time I've been a full-time YouTuber, I have just like barely scraped by financially. The only reason I've been able to do this full-time for as long as I have is because I am probably one of the most financially stingy people alive. This summer, however, was one of the most stressful times I've been in financially. It even got to the point where I was struggling to pay rent in September, and that's why I'm in a Polo, driving to my new part-time job. My studio's an absolute mess. I've used album mode as an excuse to not clean up my studio, so that needs to change. Alright, it is time to get into it. So, if you scroll through my channel, around 2 years ago, you'll notice a shift in the type of content that I made. I felt a little bit burnt out with the tutorials, so I started making more like filmic and inspirational videos, just videos that had a little bit more story to them. And I haven't really looked back since then. Sadly, this made it more difficult to monetize the channel. The filmic videos, the inspirational videos, they don't perform as well as tutorials. So once I noticed my bank account heading towards zero, I came up with a 3-plan strategy. This is my plan A. I want to keep making these longer form artistic videos. I also selfishly want to keep creating and releasing my own music. Plan B is to switch up the content, making more marketable videos, work more on my store, and slow down the time I spend on my music. Plan C is continue what I'm doing, but cut the time in half by getting a part-time job. So I started with Plan A, and the Patreon really did help. So thank you to everybody who has supported me through the Patreon. It never turned out as big as I wanted it to be. And over time, people stopped messaging me for the song collabs. And truthfully, I just slowly stopped posting on the Patreon. I am planning on keeping it alive, just to post music updates and really for anybody who wants to support this channel just to support and not really get anything out of it. So the Patreon did not save me from my financial problems, and I am just honestly shocked on how I was able to stretch my money for a whole year without moving on to plan B or plan C. I've created a lot of small money-making projects over the year, but I never spent really enough time on one of them to make it profitable. Felix and I have spent countless hours working on SoundLodge. It's something that I really am proud of, something that I think will live on past our YouTube days. We offer sound packs, drum kits, beats, merch, consulting, lectures. We have a podcast, and we still have a lot more stuff that we're planning on doing. But this kind of big dream project, it takes time to build, and that has been a hard lesson that we have had to learn. SoundLodge is barely making any money right now. I did start a new YouTube channel called Xolemates Academy, where I've started to make tutorials again, so that's been a lot of fun. I also created my first official Xole bedroom pop drum kit. That took a while, but neither of those two things are generating money either. I kind of tricked myself the whole time I worked on these money-making projects because I never spent too much time on them. I spent most of my time just working on personal music, and I knew very well that that was not going to make me money, but I would spend my time doing that anyway because that's just what I love to do. And it got to the point where my bank account just kept going down. It would be, every month would be, I would make just barely enough money to when I had to pay rent, I would have like $100 or $200 left over. And it just kept getting to that point until one month I legitimately was like, okay, I'm not really gonna have any money left over. And that's when I sat myself down and I said, okay, we can't continue doing what we're doing because it's not working. So I'm either going to have to, radically change my content and just, focus solely on the YouTube game and press pause on the music, or continue making the music, but just get a part-time job that's not even really related to music. And ultimately, that's what I chose, was the part-time job. And I remember very clearly the reason why I chose the part-time job. I imagined myself in 5 to 10 years. And I thought, if I'm going to work really hard at something for 5 to 10 years, what do I want that thing to be? What do I want to gain 5 years of experience in? And it's music. I want to gain 5 years of experience writing, recording, producing, mixing, mastering, performing music, rather than 5 years of experience building a YouTube channel, making marketable videos, making good thumbnails, being able to sell things through the YouTube channel. If I chose that path, I might have 200,000 subscribers in 5 years, but my music wouldn't be as good as if I chose the music stuff. So that's ultimately what I chose, part-time job. What's up, guys? I'm gonna go a little off script here because this is me from the present. This is all off the script. This is me right now. I'm parked out of a Crest grocery store, and everything that I'm saying in the video is true. I love making the music. I love making the art. I don't mind being broke. I've been broke for the past 4 years of my life, barely scraping by. And it's never really that frustrating. I always make it work, but there are a lot of moments like the one I'm in right now. I am parked outside of a Crest grocery store. My battery won't start in my car, and I've been sitting here for about 25 minutes waiting for my brother or Felix to pick up the phone and potentially come either pick me up, or I want to try to jump the car, but I think the battery might just be fully dead, which would suck because I don't know if I have enough money to buy a new battery. So I might be carless for a month or so as I try to make some money. I'm stubborn, guys. I mean, this is like, there might be a little part of you watching this video being like, oh, this is kind of cool. This guy's just making art and trying to figure it out, but it is not pretty. It's not a pretty thing. It's very humbling. And it is kind of weird thinking about it, because will I miss this chapter of my life? I think I will. But while I'm in it right now, that makes zero sense, because there's a lot of moments like these where I am ready to maybe have a little bit of a savings saved up. And that's all on me. Again, like everything I say in the video, these are all my decisions. I'm making these decisions, and they're not the wisest. So, yeah. All right, shouts out Caleb. The battery has been jumped. The car is moving, and I completely forgot all the bad vibes earlier. So we're back to being okay with being broke. I don't need to make money. We're fine. Let's go make another album. I'm very thankful that I chose the part-time job this time around. It needed to happen. It really did. I've been working at a local car dealership, helping run ads and helping with their website. It's very random, It doesn't even really use my skill set much at all, but I like the fact that it is not creative work. I'm just able to shut off that side of my brain for a few hours in the day. And that side of my brain has been lit up for the past 4 years, probably 90% of the time that I'm awake, because even when I'm working on work, that side of my brain is still very lit up because the work that I do is creative. So with this part-time job, able to shut that off. And it's actually led me to be more creative because it's encouraged me to work on this solo EP. The album is funny because right when I get the part-time job, which I got to start saving money for once and stop scraping by financially, I just became very inspired to make some music. So I wrote a song, which led to me writing another song, and then another one, and then I had 5 songs on my hand, and I decided to make an album. And that took about a month and some change. And for that whole month, I dropped just about everything except for my part-time job. So instead of using the part-time job to save money, I ultimately used it to continue scraping by financially so I could make this album. I think that's just how my brain is wired, and I think it's time to change that because I'm ready to start saving some money. It's getting a little old being broke, to be honest. This album made me lose my mind completely. You can ask Fizo. I was a zombie for that whole month. I didn't really leave my room unless I was getting food. I just kept writing songs and adding songs to the album, and with the production, the mixing, the mastering, everything that went into it, it took a long time. It took longer than I expected, but it is over, and that is amazing to say. And the cool thing is I now have like a small solo album as a result. Something that I'm very proud of. One of my, most proudest things that I have. Moving forward, I haven't dropped a video in over 2 months. That is by far the longest that I've gone on this YouTube channel without dropping a video. So what is happening to this channel? I've got a lot of exciting things planned. First of all, the solo EP that I've been talking about, it's out now. You can listen to it. It's called For Her to Hear, and it's being dropped on yet another artist project called Coleman Payne. Creating this new artist project has freed a lot of the perfectionism that I would put on my Xole projects, both my music and my videos. Coleman Payne and Park Rangers are now going to be the artist projects that I take the most seriously, meaning my Xole projects are just going to have a lot less pressure. I used to put a lot of pressure on those songs and on the videos that I put on this channel, and I feel like this is going to start freeing up some more uploads. For example, Fizo and I in 2025, we're planning on dropping a new podcast and video every week. Some of the videos will be related to music, others not. We're just gonna go out there and start living again, and we're gonna document the process. Xolemates, I hope this video has been a sufficient update with what I've been up to. There's a lot to talk about. There's some things that I didn't even really touch on, so I might make another video talking about those things. But the main thing I want to say right now is thank you. Thank you, Xolemates, for being the best community I can ask for. Thank you for sticking with me even when I'm, virtually silent on YouTube for 2 months. It's a blessing having a community like y'all. It's also a total blessing that I am having the problems that I'm having, to have a problem where I'm a little bit stressful about my finances while being able to spend my whole day making music is such a blessing. So I always keep that in my mind every time I think about these things, is just being grateful. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for y'all. Xolemates for life. Keep making music. Yeah. We got some exciting stuff coming soon. Alright, before I end this video, I had one more thought. This video is just all over the place. I probably should have done more writing. Most of this has just been off the top of the head, but this was my thought. For the longest time, I used to think that getting a part-time job as an artist was a little bit of a failure. And also, I used to think that it would take away from, the drive that I used to have. I would think that getting a job would take away some of that drive and take away some of the purity of the art or the quality of the art. Maybe in 4 months, if I keep working this job, maybe it will take some of the drive away, but I don't really see that happening from what I've said earlier. I think it's actually going to be the opposite with the art, from what I've learned. I've had this job for about 2 months. If you want to make good art, in my opinion, you have to live a life. You have to have things to talk about. That's what art is sharing emotion, sharing feelings, sharing stories to other people. In Nashville for 2.5 years, I was working a lot. I didn't have a part-time job. I was able to work 100% on the YouTube channel and on the music and on the art. But I was also spending 90% of the time that I was awake just staring at a computer screen working on those things. I was not living a life. I feel like not having that part-time job actually hindered the art, and it wasn't the other way around, because I've learned since moving back to Oklahoma, being with friends, being with family, trying to live more, I've noticed that that is the most important thing for making the art, is having a life. And in order to have a life, you have to make a living. In Nashville, I was so against getting a job that it actually hindered the things that I was working on, because I had to make money from it. And, I still have to do that. This part-time job isn't going to solve all my problems. It's just going to bring in a little bit more income. But I'm also hopefully going to start having a little bit of savings to where I can take a trip, or I can, go do something for once. I hope this all made sense. I hope that if you're maybe in the same position as I am, or you've had to have that job for the past 2 years to pay the bills while you're, grinding on the music. I hope that A, you don't feel like a failure, and B, you don't give up on the dream. Because we all have our own paths, and it's easy to see somebody online blow up when they're 15 and watch them just spend their whole day making music. And it's easy to compare yourself to that, when in reality, I wouldn't really wish that on anybody, blowing up when they're 15, before they even really know who they are, or before they've really even had a perspective that allows them to appreciate the success that they have. So, yeah, xolemates for life. Keep making music.